4/8/2020. Let's see, we'll get a little crazy here and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hopefully we've got a short agenda tonight. It's a very strange time for everybody, I'm sure, as it is for me. So agenda item number 1, update and info on the health crisis. Chris, are you there?
Yep, got it.
So did you want to give a little kind of discussion about what this is and what the town is doing?
Sure. So this is the non-health related update. This is if folks are experiencing any economic or other hardships. I just wanted to point out some resources that folks can use. On the governor's website, coronavirus.health.ny.gov, know your rights. There's a bunch of information on paid sick leave, unemployment, insurance, health insurance, how to apply, mortgage and rent information, you know, the 90-day period that the governor is allowing for folks not to pay rent. They will have to eventually pay it, but not during this time period. Student loan, again, a 90-day period. Utilities can't be shut off. Testing and price gouging. So there's some good information there if folks are out of work and lost health insurance because of that. I know that I've heard a lot of folks having difficulty applying for unemployment benefits. I've had family members had success at off hours, and they're recommending the best way to do it is online. No matter when you do sign up, it will be retroactive to the day that you lost employment. So even if you can't get in because of high volume, you'll still be allowed to apply. And then also the town of Phillipstown sent out a little mailer that looked like this. I think I got mine yesterday or the day before. And it's got some resources that are specific for Phillipstown residents. You can call the main office at 845-265-5200 or email the clerk. But they're from a donation from someone local, I guess. There's access to Foodtown gift cards to help residents pay for food, and access to Drug World gift cards to help residents pay for essential medications. And then there's also information about how you can sign up to volunteer if you would like to do that through the phillipstown.com website.
Great. That's some feedback from somebody. So just on the topic of the health crisis, we've been on calls with the county health department daily at 10:30 in the morning every day. Things in the beginning were very, I want to say chaotic. We really pressed them to get town by town numbers because we felt like our side of the county was being underrepresented, and it was giving people kind of a false sense of that it wasn't really a problem in Putnam County. And as we've seen by the most recent numbers, that it is a big problem all over Putnam County. In terms of testing, as of almost probably 2 weeks ago, Putnam County Department of Health has not had any testing kits available. The town supervisors got together and wrote a note to the governor's office petitioning them. They got 100 test kits. Yesterday, they did a drive-through testing. They got 96 individuals tested. 4 people did not show up. And from what I'm hearing, that's probably going to be the last round of county health department testing that's undertaken. They're looking to try to get the New York State Health Department to really take that over, like they've been doing at Bear Mountain and some of the other testing sites. Just to show you, in case you haven't seen it, these are the the dashboards that the county puts out every day. The latest one has town of Phillipstown is up to 31 individuals. There's been now 15 deaths in Putnam County reported by Putnam Hospital. And, you know, we all know that the kind of the impact it's had on our local community with Mr. Santos and, you know, even Ed Cleary and a few other individuals in the town that have passed away. Has anyone had any problems finding these dashboards or anything like that? All good.
Mhm.
On the topic of, you know, the trails kind of ties into this. So the town of Phillipstown has been incredible through all of this. Richard Shea is kind of, Phillipstown is like the local federal government version of, you know, municipalities around here. And they've been really responsive to both the villages. The trails themselves, they try to close off at Breakneck and Little Stony Point. Got into a kind of a war with the state about, you know, who had authorization to close things and who didn't. They ended up taking down all of the tape and stuff that had been put up to close off the trailheads. As part of that, we closed off our own parking areas here just to kind of, you know, prevent any kind of overflow parking. And from what I see, it seems to have worked. I haven't seen too many out of state or non-community members like kind of using that area back there, which is a good thing. The main concern was that all of the hikers that were coming up to the Breakneck area, most of them are coming from the tri-state area, which is, you know, ground zero for all of the virus. And we didn't want, you know, them coming and, you know, going to Food Town and just spreading it into the community. But like I said, it's been a mixed bag of trying to get it taken care of, but the town has been incredible in terms of help for individuals, you know, no questions asked. If you need help with food, just contact Richard or the clerk at the town, and they have options available for you for, you know, no questions asked, food cards to Food Town and things like that. Does anybody have anything else they want to add on the health crisis? Nope. All right, we'll move on to number 2, update on the cell tower. I don't really have much in terms of graphics or anything for that, but just to give you the Cliff Note version, the week before the major lockdown in New York State, Homeland Towers had put in their initial building permit application at the village. It was only a part of the permit in that it was the like the Homeland, the tower version, and then there was a Verizon component that came in later on. That didn't come in until the 20th. So the Cliff Note version is that they had a 15-day shot clock after the building permit was submitted for us to approve it as per the court-ordered settlement agreement. So they are also under a deadline of April 1st where the DEC will not allow construction to cut down trees because of an endangered bat species or something that's out there. So Homeland was putting a great deal of pressure on us that week to kind of piecemeal approve cutting the trees down. To our credit, to our attorney's credit, to Bill Bajarski's credit, we have never in the past issued a partial permit for tree removal. We only issue building permits in total, like for an entire project. So we notified Homeland, I guess the Friday before April 1st. I don't know the date, I could pull it up real quick. But we notified them that their building application was incomplete at the time. Quickly devolved into attorneys fighting, and we were being told that basically they were going to show up on Monday and clear cut those trees no matter what we did. We issued them, I don't think we got to the stage of issuing them a stop work order.
No,
yeah, we didn't get to that point, but it got pretty heated between the attorneys. We're being threatened with possibly more legal action, but again, we're in the middle of a state of emergency. All non-essential construction is shut down. And if you read the law, in terms of telecommunications, the only essential construction is for facilities that are already built, not ones that are under construction. So we kind of had that to fall back on. But at the end of the day, it was an incomplete building application, and we're working our best and are doing our due diligence to make sure that we approve it as one full building permit application and not piecemealing it out, because it would set a precedent going forward. That's pretty much it. I mean, we're at the stage with them where we're working on a couple issues that were identified in the site plan. The site plan that was submitted as part of this application differed from what we settled upon in the lawsuit. So they are trying to kind of bring all the parties to the table and make the two merge. They weren't happy with us, let's put it that way, because you know, they're claiming that we are going to be costing them almost 9 months of income from the tower because they weren't able to cut those trees. You know, the village's answers back to them was that if they petition the DEC, the DEC gives them a waiver to cut those trees in June, and we have the building permit completely satisfied and approved. You know, we're not playing games. We're not going to try to stop them from cutting trees as part of this building permit. But I mean, it's pretty much the ball is in the DEC's court now. Homeland is saying that DEC already denied the request. Whether that happened or not, we haven't seen proof of it. So that was basically the end of it. Made for a very stressful start to the quarantine for a lot of people. I know Mindy was very a little stressed. I was very stressed. Bill Bajarski, who you know, you don't want to put anybody's health on the line, and Bill is, I don't want to give away any, you know, privileged health information, but Bill is taking it easy, and he's kind of keeping himself away from everybody. And so he did as best as he could from where he was, and he was ready to go on site if need be, if they showed up and ignored our orders and just kind of tried to cut those trees down themselves. But at the end of the day, I think we're on solid legal ground, and if it comes to that, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I can't imagine any federal judge that's going to be happy with you know, any person or company coming before them in the middle of a global pandemic trying to claim that we infringed upon any kind of rights, when, you know, we're basically at the stage people are, you know, worrying about survival. They're not worried about construction of cell towers. Any questions from the board on that? Boy, this muted microphones makes for a quiet meeting, right?
Mike, I do have a follow-up question. Do you know whether Bill and Ron have spoken with Homeland, because they were going to go over point by point the issues that we identified?
Yeah, they've had
that conversation.
They've had at least 2 meetings where they're going literally point by point, paragraph by paragraph through the building application. I mean, some of the issues were that the tower was shown differently in the submitted application, the grading of the road, the location of the road. That was, you know, the big 3. And then I think there was some other landscaping issues with fencing and things like that too.
Yeah, and the issue for me was that they didn't provide a final design for the tree itself.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that they do.
Yeah. We've, you know, they've acknowledged that we've asked for it and they're going to provide it. So we'll see when we get it. Any other questions from the board? All right, then we'll move on to item 3, the budget. Mindy, if you want to talk through that.
Okay, so we're just going to mimic the procedure that the Village of Cold Spring did, which is to post the actual budget online. If anybody cannot access it online, let me know. I can email the budget to you, or I can mail, you know, drop copies in people's mailboxes if they need it. But we're giving from Friday, April 10th until Friday, April 17th, to please email us, contact us, text us, yell, call, whatever. Give us your comments and feedback on the budget. It's going to be posted for the week, final comments by Wednesday, April 22nd, because that's going to give us 5 days to review, make changes, and we're going to post it by April 27th. And It's going to have to be adopted by resolution on May 1st, by May 1st. So it's going to have to be the last day in April. So that's the time frame we're going to try and work on. We really don't have any other choice because I don't think we have the room to meet 6 feet apart in the office. And that's like the only option for meeting in person. So this is really the only way that I can see to do it. So I think it'll work. It seems to be working for Cold Spring so far. So that's where we stand with that.
There is the possibility that the state will extend the budget year, but we're going to go ahead like they're not going to. The election has already been moved again till at least June sometime. We're not completely positive by NICOM exactly when.
Right.
And
NICOM is still trying to get a move on the budget thing, but his attitude so far, what she said was, if the state can pass their budget, we should be able to pass ours.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to go on.
And just some like highlights from the budget. We're looking at thanks to Trustee Windward, who was thinking of this even before COVID. We're going to probably go ahead with a 0% tax increase. Part of it was because the state comptroller's office, had some concerns about us carrying so much money from year to year. So this budget is going to be a little bit more aggressive in that we're going to draw upon some of those savings to kind of lower that year to year bankroll, I guess is what you would call it. Did I explain that correctly, Mindy?
It's the unexpended funds that we have. We have funds that are just sitting in savings, and we thought we were going to be in for, maybe $1 million lawsuit here. We never knew. But anyway, there's a lot of money for like it's not so many years. It's like the last 4 years that we haven't done any major projects. So we're just wondering why. And they asked the question, we answered it and they're fine with it. But the longer it goes on, the more they're going to ask. So anyway, it's time. We're done. Hopefully.
So we're going to look to do some paving this year and expend CHIPS money, expend some money out of the budget to do that as well. Dave, I mean, if you want to get working with, getting some bid materials together for that so that we're ready to hit the ground once everything is kind of back to normal, or as normal as it's going to get. And we can start doing some some essential construction, I guess, in village standards.
All I need is basically the three tentative bids, right, for blacktop, right?
Yeah, and actually, I think the state is kind of suspended that process as well. I mean, we can probably go ahead and I don't even think the 3 bid is by law anymore during the state of emergency. They've kind of suspended that.
Right. I'll look into it. I think they've really made it very much easier now. So I'll look. Right. I think all that's suspended. Dave, I'll look into it tomorrow. I'll let you know.
All right. I looked at Division Street. Yep. Part of Division Street's kind of iffy. Not the side the cars are parked on, but not the other side. Like 4 feet off the curb is basically shot. So basically, if you take a line right down the center of where the cars go, and just take that part out, because the rest is in good shape. Probably, if you take a walk there, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, Division's got some issues. Secor back here has got a lot of issues.
A lot of issues, Secor.
Down past the Masonic Lodge. We also needed to get with Sal about, doing a more permanent patch on Pearl Street and also fixing the part of Pine Street that, was left kind of sagging after the water work that was done there.
Yeah.
Okay, what I think we need to do is put them in order of priority, because there are 5 projects mentioned right there.
Well, I think Bank is probably number 1 where it meets the road, because we deferred that from last year. And, I would think that part of Secor is probably going to be in number 2 or tied number 2 with the part of Division. And then, if we can get away with doing some patchwork in other places.
Yeah, but the patchwork on Pearl and Pine, that's basically, that can be done as soon as the plant opens up, because that was part of Sal's part when he dug the road up.
Yeah.
The patch, to make those patches, and then correct the Pine Street, take some of the dips out.
Yeah, he's got to uncover the manhole cover on Pearl Street that he put in because it's all covered with gravel now. So if there's an issue there, you know, we don't want to accidentally pave over the manhole cover.
Oh no, he has to clean around that down a couple of inches to blacktop it to expose so the cover is basically level with the road.
Yep.
Technically, so.
All right, so the budget will be posted online from Friday until the next Friday, the 17th. Anything else to add on budget before we move on? And everyone who's in the crowd, we're going to unmute at the end here so you guys will have time to talk. Number 4 is a chalk activity with kids proposed by Pam Gunther. If Dove, you want to kind of talk about that, and I can show some of the materials.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone.
Where do you want to start, with the proposal or video?
Yeah, maybe what I'll do is just to give a little bit of background, which is maybe you could play the video.
Sure.
So this is something that Pamela Gunther put together, and it's a proposal for the village. She has most of the supplies already, but she was thinking that we could create some of these playscapes using chalk spray on the village sidewalks. And it would be an activity that would get kids outdoors, and, you know, we'd have to caution that they couldn't do it together, but maybe a kid and a parent, get them active and get them outdoors. And she has these amazing stencils that she's volunteered to loan us. So maybe let's play the video. If we decide to proceed with this, I think she's suggesting that perhaps we would buy some of the spray paint. And I think the totals that she was considering was something like $200. So it wouldn't be a big expense.
Let's see if the video will play.
Okay.
If the audio goes through. You hear that?
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Turn it off.
There you go.
Yeah, so there were two ideas that she had. One is, so she owns the stencils and would loan them out to the village. One idea that she was suggesting was that individual parents could pick up the stencils from her office and either purchase the paint themselves, or the village could purchase a stock of paint. And by paint, I mean chalk spray. And each parent could create them in their driveways or on their sidewalks by their house for their own kids and neighbors. Or I did raise the concern about sharing the stencils around the community, just because this is not a time where we actually want to be touching things, the same object, and passing it around. She reassured me that her office they're pros in sterilizing their materials. So at each handoff, she could sterilize it in her office. But then the other idea that we talked about was that we actually used some of the village public sidewalks in front of Village Hall and along the square, and then maybe even up North Pearl up to the Masonic parking lot, along the sidewalk. And so this could sort of be an activity around Village Hall, the sidewalks and streets, not streets, the sidewalks around Village Hall. And I asked whether she and her company could actually do the stenciling themselves so that we wouldn't be circulating the stencils, but perhaps the village could pay for, $200 worth of this spray chalk for them to produce this for the village. And it is temporary, but I think it might be something that would bring a little bit of joy and activity, since our kids are housebound, and I think looking for creative play. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, she had reached out to me right in the middle of the whole cell tower tree debacle, and so I tried to get back to her, and then I ended up just kind of giving her off to you, Dove, and then, but definitely the kids need something to do. We had participated in something with the Butterfield Library where you put a bear in the window and the kids walk by and they see it. And, I don't see any big problem with kids going out for walks with their parents and stuff like that. You got to get out of the house before, people go insane. I like this idea. Does anybody else have any thoughts on it?
Is this something that can be installed, like in addition to around the Village Hall, like in the Village Green for a little while?
Yeah, that's what Doug was just saying. That maybe Pam Gunther's company could kind of do that if we provided the paint. And just for clarification, it's not permanent paint. It's chalk paint that'll wash off. It'll last for a few months, but it'll come off eventually.
All right, well, as long as it will last for a few months,
yeah,
or even a few weeks, it would be great. I think it would.
There are a couple of different types, and if you watch the video, she just talks about them, but some will only last like a weekend. It's really not permanent at all, and then it's kind of an expense because as soon as it rains, it disappears. But there's this other kind of spray chalk that's a little bit more permanent that will last a couple of months, but if in an emergency, you could always pressure wash it off. So
right. No,
I think that's probably the option we would want to go with, just so there's some longevity to it.
I like
think
the
it'd be a great thing to do.
I like the idea of kind of the sidewalk around Village Hall, just so people could kind of participate and see it as they're moving. I'm not so sure about it in the park because you just don't want to kind of have people getting together to gather there to kind of play around and do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it was more rather that it would be like in some ways, if you think like an obstacle course, like it could go
like in one side out the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. We have a ton of money in the rec budget that we can draw from if we want to do it.
Yeah, and I also thought it would be nice if she has the stencils for it, if we could write some kind of like positive message just for the community as well.
I like it.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's great.
So yeah,
There's an example of it on Pearl Street, I think.
Yeah, that's
oh
actually
yeah.
So that's
they did the video. They used it for the video.
Yeah, that's actually Pam's house and sidewalk, and she asked permission to do that ahead of time, and I told her as long as it's not permanent. So yeah, we have our meeting on Monday. So we can vote and expend some money if you want to get exact figures from Pam, Dove, if we wanted to do kind of in front of the Village Hall and around the side of Pearl and then maybe through the park like that. Great.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good.
So public comments will be Monday?
No, you're going to have a chance to comment at the end of this meeting.
Okay.
What about for safety for that? Any
Yeah,
issue
that
in
is.
that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is.
Like
Yeah,
my thing in front of the village hall, you have sidewalk street, it's not like on the side streets. You know,
yeah,
you're really tight there in front of the village hall. You know, it's not, the road narrows out right there,
yeah.
coming out of Pearl, both ends.
Yep. Mindy, not to give you more on your plate, but maybe we can just touch base with the insurance company and just make sure we're not opening ourselves up to lawsuits if somebody breaks an ankle or something.
Right, if we were, okay.
Can we also,
The question
Could
is
we-
where drawing the hopscotch board? It's not the kids drawing the hopscotch board, so our liability will change.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
what we're thinking possibly? Okay, I'll ask Trisha tomorrow.
Could we also put up some cones in the crosswalk, or just even on the side of the sidewalk where the design is, just, to provide another
Absolutely.
layer of visibility?
I don't see why not.
I mean, we could do stuff on the sidewalk itself, not in the road.
Right,
It's
right.
DOT. Yeah.
Yeah,
But just to like create a little bit of a fence.
But I mean, if that's if traffic through there is a worry, maybe it does make most sense to kind of keep it off on the side roads, either through the Village Green and then down Pearl Street, or, on Pearl into Secor back in towards the parking lot.
Mhm. Yeah, I was actually going to ask her. I doubt it's possible, but whether we could put it on the dirt of the, now that the village section of the parking lot is closed off. I don't know if the spray chalk even sprays onto dirt.
If it's on dirt, it won't last that long. Once the kids hit it the first time, it's gone.
Mm.
And actually, now that you reminded me, just a kind of an update on that parking area, if you've seen that the Masons had their survey crew install boundaries through there on the right-of-way. The plan is, I'm hearing, is they want to put some trees there and maybe barriers to kind of enclose their parking lot. Which I wish they'd, instead of doing that, explore renting spaces to residents and maybe paying for plowing or something like that. They could probably make some real money off of renting spaces for the winter there. But I think they're more set on having that parking lot delineated as their own. So that's why the orange stakes are out there. All right.
Mike, can I ask a question? Does the village pave their parking lot?
No, their parking lot is dirt right now. Mindy, we're not plowing it, right? We plow our right away.
What's the right of way?
we don't plow the Mason lot, do we? No, I think
Just our right away.
the snow part, the snow
Yeah.
parking part.
Yeah.
But Mark also plows for them. So
No, he don't plow for them. George does.
Oh, George does. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And Hartmill, I noticed, put up a private road sign. I'd never seen that before. Private.
It is a private
It is a
road.
private road.
It is. Do they pave their road?
No, it's dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our mill's dirt, and we don't maintain it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
Mhm.
So number 5, AirBNB. Lisa, that was your request for the agenda.
Yeah, I noticed in the paper that Cold Spring had suspended Airbnb rentals. I don't know how it's enforced, but Dave and Randy made a statement saying that there weren't going to be any. And I thought that was in the current climate with the coronavirus and everything, that was a good idea maybe to make a statement at least saying that we were in favor of not having any Airbnb rentals during this time until especially since the governor has said no gatherings and things until April 19th, possibly beyond, and doesn't sound like a good idea.
I think it's a great idea, and I'll put together a statement to put up on the Facebook and on our website, just kind of asking people to voluntarily stop renting out. Like you say, there's no way to enforce it though. That's the issue. Until we change our code and we have something on the books which we already do. It's technically outlawed, but it's unenforceable. but I hope that people are using common sense and not doing it and not making like a cash grab for things. But I do know that they're still renting them out because I see the ones in Cold Spring still have people coming in and out of them on the weekends. And I see people walking up through Nelsonville as well. So yeah, we'll put together a statement on that. If does anybody have any feelings one way or the other on it? I think it's a common sense thing to not have people from outside the community coming into it right now until we get a handle on everything.
Would be nice to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's on Brian Morgan's agenda. We've gotten maybe 1 or 2 draft emails back on it. We do have the draft codes from other municipalities that we're going to use as kind of the basis of our own. I don't think we're looking to kind of ban it or stop it, but we're definitely going to regulate it at some point in the future. Anything else before we open to the public? All right. I'm going to unmute everybody then. It's going to be a free-for-all. You guys, you can unmute yourselves if you want to make a comment or ask a question.
Nope. Why wouldn't you say anything?
No.
Gloria, did you have something?
Of course. I really like the idea of the painting of the sidewalks, but do we have enough money in the recreation?
Yeah, we have upwards, I think of, what was it, maybe like $14,000 or something like that?
Yeah, pretty close to $15,000 in recreation. And the only things that we can do with it are things like this. We support the Fish and Fur. We have the letter, it's coming in the correspondence for Monday night for the fishing derby. They are gonna, looks like they are gonna go forward with that on May 3rd. I hope the kids can stand far enough apart, encouraging fishing and, season and everything.
We have $15,118.35 in there.
Okay,
So-
that's good.
If we can,
Michael, what's the status of the 4 acres?
it's been on the back burner and it's not a priority right now, given everything that's going on. Lisa, you did communicate with Will Nevis, and they were open to us just kind of, like I said, putting it on the back burner for a month or 2 until we get a handle on what's going on in the larger world.
The reason
Yeah, did you, I'm sorry, Gloria, did you hear from him, Mike? Because he didn't respond to me. Did he then instead email you or?
Let me look real quick. I think
He
Because I-
responded. He responded.
yeah,
He
he's,
did?
I got it.
Oh.
he
Yeah, he
responded
was
back.
on it. I saw.
Oops. I thought I got all my email. Okay.
Let's see, I could probably pull it up real quick. Yeah, he wrote, "Hi Lisa, it's good to hear from you. We are all in the same boat during these uncertain times. As a result, many projects are delayed, so I see no issue with putting this process on hold until the next village meeting or beyond. If you need anything else from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Until then, be well."
Okay, great.
the reason I ask, in view of the property they just purchased for almost $2 million, I think it's kind of crazy that we're gonna swap whatever you want to call it, 4 acres of land for 0.
Yeah, we're not, I know, and we're not, I'm not going to rehash it over and over. We're not selling it, Gloria.
I know, Michael,
Although
but
if OSI wanted to offer us 1.8 million, we might entertain it.
tell them 250,000 will sell it.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling they bought that property either, I mean, one of 2 or 3 things. It's either going to be leveled for parking, it's going to be a new headquarters or some kind of hotel or something to capitalize off of the hiking trails. You know, you can't fault them for
Trying.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think it's, no matter what they do there is going to be with a environmentalist slant. It's not going to be for profit, I don't think, but I'd be surprised. It's not not like Scenic Hudson that wanted to build a hotel on the wharf in Beacon.
Well, we'll know in 10 years.
Anybody else? Alan, I see your hand up.
Yeah, you could paint the sidewalk in front of my house. Lots of kids go by. I would love that.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass that on.
And that's also, I mean, to Dave's point, you might want to check with your homeowner's insurance policy, but I mean, if private individuals want to get in touch with Pam and do this, I think it's a great thing.
Well, all right. Yeah, I'll do it.
A good attorney will find a number of people to include in a lawsuit. There's nothing you can do.
Exactly.
The good thing is that the sidewalks are public right-of-ways, so
Right.
it's hard to hold a village.
That's what I mean. I mean, like, the only difference is it's going to be us drawing the hopscotch board rather than the kids. That's the only difference in what's
And
going to happen. with
It
this.
wouldn't
I
even
think it's
technically,
win-win.
it wouldn't even technically be us doing the painting.
I know.
If Pam's company is going to do it and we're just permitting it.
Yeah, and she made clear that her company was completely covered with liability insurance.
I'll tell her she can paint in front of my house. It's a wide sidewalk.
I will, Ellen, thank you.
It's the Wild West over there in East Nelsonville.
I like the idea. Thank you, Alan, for offering that. I kind of like the idea of spreading it out a little
Yes,
far.
as
so
many
folks don't
people
have
who
to go
want-
far away from home if they don't want to.
Yeah, like, have it like a joint, follow the village, you know what I mean? Follow the village of Nelsonville and see how long we can get it to go. Maybe to go over into Phillipstown and Cold Spring and, you know, all the way, who knows?
I'd like,
I like that idea, but since their very small company is going to be doing it themselves, I think they wanted to start small. So that's why the Village Hall area was a logical first project. But maybe if other parents then want to purchase more paint and borrow the stencils, then that's something that they can expand on, add on to
I'll
it.
buy the paint.
Right.
I'll
Okay.
paint my own. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I mean, I just want to be careful with the paint because, you know, we did have a lot of complaints after the
Turkey trot.
Turkey trot. Yeah, that was it that 1 year. And you know, some of those marks are still there.
I think we have enough money in the budget, Alan, to buy you some paint.
I don't mind. I ran into a lady rolling her child in the stroller, and she was coming back from the Tot Park, and she was very upset that the park was closed. She said that children need to play together. They need that experience. And I just looked at her.
Not now.
Wow.
I mean, trust me, I have my son. He's been home with me now for 3 weeks, and you know, it kills me that he doesn't have the playmates he had at daycare. But still, I mean, the Top Park is a germ factory, and you know, even if it doesn't harm the children, you know, you bring your kids into Food Town or to visit your grandparents or whatever, and it could kill somebody.
Yeah, and actually Pam pointed out that this chalk activity is perfect because everybody's feet, you know, it's like the best thing to touch in any activity because, you know, you take your shoes off at the door.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's minimal risk.
No, and I, if they have the ability to do custom stencils too, and we could do some kind of messaging, that's awesome. I mean, that would be something cool to go out through the community. It was like kind of pieces of a little poem or story or something that.
Or just wash your hands.
Yeah, there you go. Stay away from each other.
Right. Right.
Right.
Apart today, together tomorrow.
Hug
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So, is there anything else from the community crowd out there? We've got 5 or 6 individuals in the room. Anything from the reporters, Kimberly, Liz? All right. Well, it was
good job.
It was
Good
good to
job.
see everybody. I'm glad that you were able to get on. If anybody had trouble getting into the meeting, this will be posted as soon as possible afterwards. Just going to cut off the beginning of it when we were in the waiting room talking. But should be all set.
Can I just add one thing? The great resources that Chris was sharing at the beginning of the meeting, they're also on the village website now.
Yes.
good, thank you.
Thanks, Dov. Thanks for maintaining the website, Dov.
And if you haven't seen it yet, drive by the village park and check out the trees in bloom because it's probably the nicest thing in the village right now.
Yeah.
No, my
beautiful.
trees look good too.
We've got like 8 of them in there though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful right now. It looks like it's snowing when the wind blows. It's beautiful. I miss sitting there all day. I really do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I do. You think I want to be home in this crazy house? Think again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I'm going to leave.
All right. Have a good day.
Good
Good to see
Good
everyone.
night.
Is there a
See ya.
motion to adjourn?
Good, make it.
Is there a second?
Thanks, Mike.
Second,
No problem. All those in favor, aye. Have a good evening.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thanks, guys. Bye.